Proceeding to session 2, the primary aim of the course is to provide opportunities to academics from a range of disciplines and countries to share their research both through the conference podium and their publications. ICON Mesh 21 is an inter and multidisciplinary conference which gives us a platform to the academicians to dispense their knowledge, ideas, and experience associated in the field of management, engineering, science, social science, and humanities. Now we have our next invited speaker. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Dr. Nalini, is a senior lecturer at Academy of Language Studies, Universiti Teknologi MARA, Malaysia. She has received both international and national research grants and published in various index journals and book chapters. She has developed massive open online courses, MOOCs, for academic writing, as well as a special motivational program for disadvantaged learners. She has received several national and international awards, including gamification in classrooms and ODL platforms. She is currently an adjunct professor with Asia E-University, visiting professor with Universities Islam Sumatra Utara, Indonesia, and Punjab College, Nalini, Pakistan. So I request Dr. Nalini to take up from here.
Good day to everyone. Thank you very much to the organizing team for creating a platform for all the educators and researchers to share our opinion as well as our research finding. Thank you to you and for the organizing team. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm an educator by profession and I'm here to share a little from my experience and as well as from the research. I'm looking at the topic, online distance learning. How do we catch the rainbow amidst the storm? Many of us feel that the ODL is a storm, but do we have a choice at this juncture? So let's look at the silver line in the cloud. And I believe there is a silver lining in every cloud. So here, ODL comes as a savior. So how do we catch the rainbow? Yeah. And I would like to explain further and the different terminologies used to describe ODL. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay, ODL is also known as the flexible learning, distance learning, and some of us call as correspondence education, independent study, blended learning, e-learning, distance learning again. And I would like to use the term ODL in this presentation. ODL. Okay, what is the rainbow? Rainbow out of ODL. I believe that ODL creates independent learners where we give the responsibility to the students, teaching them how to become an independent learner. And ODL has to be, and we can create such a way that it becomes learner-centered approach to create a bridge between the educators or the teachers and the student. ODL also teaches students to manage their time well, to balance their life. And it is so awesome as it gives the privilege of having flexible learning. ODL is very cost effective. And when we have face-to-face class, we only have our own students. But through ODL, we have got a global audience to join us. So you can always have many walks of life or students from any part of the world. So ODL creates this platform. But ODL has got so much to offer, plenty to offer. So how do we grasp the rainbow from ODL? Who is the person, who is the PIC to experience, to grasp the rainbow? In my point of view, we have to look for the agent of change. When we have the agent of change, we can always have the rainbow amidst the storm. So how do we see the ODL, or how do we become the agent of change? The agent of change, in my point of view, is you and me, the educators. So, how? And I would like to share with you the 5 E's of the way that we can enhance ODL to see the rainbow. So, what are the 5 E we will be sharing now? The first one is you have to see evolve and change. So what is evolving and how do we change? To experience the change, first we have to change our perception. So look at the cups there, 2 glasses there. So instead of looking the glass, we said, oh, it's half the glass. So let's say that we look at it that the half cup actually is half full. Look at it as half full instead of half empty. The moment we change our perception, it is half full. Look at the full. So here, we as educators have to change our perception, have to change our mindset. Look at the strength of our students. Look at the strength of the ODL. How can we maximize, optimize this ODL? That is point one. Okay, point one is evolve and accept the change, embrace the change. Point two, let's look at the next slide, please. Expectation factors. When we say Newman has released a research saying that the effectiveness of ODL program can be improved by increasing the interaction between students and online program developers. So for us to feel the benefits, for us to experience the benefit, number one, as educators, have we studied the learner's characteristic? Have we studied our students? Did we update what is the requirement of our program? Because ODL varies, every program varies. Every program has got different expectation and different needs. So did we fulfill the requirement of our program? Number three, all the while we had face-to-face, now we are having online, synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is where we have common classroom, common physical place where all of us learn together. But asynchronous is you learn on your own. The materials are there. We have to learn our own by looking at the materials. So are we, as educators, are we providing sufficient materials to feed or to meet the needs of our students to prepare for the code? This is again, I would say, as educators, we have to reflect on our ability, reflect on our preparation, and reflect on ourselves and evaluate ourselves whether we as educators are prepared. Point two. Next, we are going to point three, empathy factor. Empathy factor. Okay, students or learners, the oblique is missing, students or learners mindset. Now they are learning on their own. So being isolated, having to do remote learning in remote. So what is their mindset? Do they have sufficient motivation? When they have face-to-face classes, there will be motivation from their friends, a kind of positive competition and motivation and rewards from the teacher or lecturer or educator. But now they lack this extrinsic motivation. So how do we address this? We have to have empathy factor. Currently, they are having the same environment, whether they study or they're watching TV or they're socializing among the family members, they have got the same environment. So that is another distractor for them. There are a lot of distraction at home, learning from home. And I remember my student told me that being a female student, when she's learning from home, the parents expect her to do some chores at home. So she said it's a bit challenging for her, where she prefers to learn from the college, where her duty is only to study. So these are the challenges faced by especially university students: distraction, socializing, gas, and then other chores comes in. So how do we help our student? So here we have to have empathy. We have to practice empathy. The students need a tap on the shoulder. The student needs praises even though it's online. So we have to enhance by giving some kind of control. Do we want to make the child feel so bored there? So how do we do that? How do we prompt our students when, even when group learning, what happens now, online learning? So they need some kind of prompt, some kind of acknowledgement from the educators. Can say very good answer, okay, are you here, do you follow me? Those kind of prompt also will help students. Yeah, that kind of empathy. If the student send a message, today I'm unable to join, I'm under weather, so how do we show that you feel for the student? So send a message. We do not lose anything by just responding, take care. If you need help, let us know. So this kind of little thing, let the student to feel that you have empathy factor. Point 4 is engagement factor. How do we engage with our students? I would like to touch this point here. Intellectually convey, but emotionally connect. That means when we have our classes, we have to be formal and we use our intellectual domain. But at the same time, like what Maslow says and what Puckett says, that emotional connection, recognition is very important for students. Like what Confucius says, tell me, I will forget. Show me, I'll remember. Involve me, I will understand. So we want the students to understand what they do. So create activities, create projects where students are engaged and involved. Being a human being, our brain receives over 400 billion bytes of information each second. Only 2,000 of those bytes are consciously processed. So this alone let us know that for our students to have learning process, a piece of information has to have some kind of emotional connection, or from emotional connection, it transforms to become knowledge. So again, here we have to relate intelligently and connect emotionally. And the last one, okay, before going to the last one, we have one more. So as educators, we have to always be reflective. Wherever we are, whether we are in the university or high school or primary school or even preschool, as teachers, we have to be reflective. Honestly, look at our own self from the time. Are we prepared? Are we addressing our students' need? We have to evaluate the purpose as being an educator. What is the purpose? Did we come to this noble profession because we do not have any choice, or we came here by choice? Either one, whether by choice or with no choice, we are here. But remember that wherever we are, whatever we do, we have to do our best. That's what we call the responsibility, the duty of a teacher. So let's reflect and always remember, feedback from the educator is the booster for the students' engagement. Students to experience the process of learning and teaching. So the best way is to provide continuous feedback. So a simple thing like that. What do I think? What do you mean? How did this happen? No, things like that. So another approach that I would like to highlight here. We know, all of us, we know that tell a story. So any content, I remember watching a movie when you want to study movie, okay, cinema, said that always remember it in a story form so that you remember all the formulas. So let it be it's ODL or face-to-face class, whenever we have a story format, and I'm sure the students will enjoy. Let it be whether they are school or tertiary students. The moment you say story, it catches, and that becomes the rainbow in them. And online teaching, we have a lot of tools, especially in this technology era, a lot of tools. So use the tool the best whenever it is necessary. Use the tool. The carpenter, when he wants to create, he wants to make a chair, he takes his tool. He takes the right tool to create the table. Otherwise, the tool for the table making will be in the toolbox. So we have to use the right tool to teach the right topic and the right student. So that's the fourth one. And finally, we go to the last one. Last E is empowerment. So how do we empower our student? So here empowerment means we are not giving them anything. We just give them little role. Okay, first of all, we say, okay, what did we do last class? So a revision, 5 minutes of revision. Instead of teacher doing as teacher-centered, make it as student-centered. Appoint students, take turn to revise the salient point. So we are giving them the empowerment. Number 2, we are doing the revision, recalling method, recall the memory. So we are reinforcing our points, our teaching. We can have a lot of quizzes where the young generation, Gen Y and Gen Z, they enjoy doing quizzes, okay, Kahoot quizzes and a lot of other things, even virtual assessment. Or perhaps you can, if you are teaching, if we are doing some kind of oral presentation or we are teaching speaking component, we can always give a topic and immediate impromptu speech. Of course, initial stage, the proficient students or the good ones will come and volunteer. But in time to come, like what Vygotsky says, that students will learn from one another, because learning is not isolation. Learning is not an island by itself. Learning takes place through interaction by giving them empowerment. So, ladies and gentlemen, the 5 E's are the rainbow in ODL. Number 1, evolve and change. Number 2, expectation factors. When you expect, like Krashen says, the input theory and output theory, what we give, they give us back. So how much do we give? We only give them what they need and they will give us in return. So what we teach, we test. That is expectation factor. Empathy, remember, whatever happens, they are human beings and they are going through the process of growing, evolving. So we have to have the empathy within us. That is the emotional connection between, or becomes emotional bridge between the educators and students. Engagement factors, another bridge, stronger bridge, which makes the student to feel that they are part of this learning process. And finally, empowerment, we are creating the future leaders. We are not creating people with a distinction, people with straight A's, excellent distinctions. No, we create human being. Future leaders need not, just because we are doing ODL, future leaders need not to be just based on their theory, but we are creating human beings where they have empathy. They become future leader of the country. They must have empathy towards the nation for them to become a good leader. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say here that ODL is here to stay. So how do we make ODL the best platform? It is depending on you and me. I believe this. A mediocre teacher tells. A good teacher explains. A superior teacher demonstrates. But a great teacher inspires. Dear all, ladies and gentlemen, you are educated, I'm educator. Let us be the sculpture where we sculpt the future leaders, future persona for the world by inspiring our students. Let us join together to inspire our students by being the agent of change. And with that, let us embrace ODL at this juncture, especially with the pandemic, utilize and see the rainbow amidst the storm. With that, thank you and terima kasih. And I'm Nalini Arumugam from UiTM Malaysia. And see you. Thank you, organizers, for giving me this opportunity to share the little I know. Thank you. And over to you.